All right, let's go ahead and, if you're watching the video, go ahead and pause, write this down, and then we'll do example 2 together. Okay, example 2. The first thing we're going to do is plug in the x and y, h and k, so label everything. You're going to want to write small on this one because we're going to do something extra once we get the vertex form. Okay, so if you want to, you can leave some space over here to the right side for what we need to do. So I would start all the way over here, okay? So we have our h, our k, our x, and our y. See what you can plug in on your own. I would write your formula down, okay? Write your formula down from up above, and then plug everything in as you need to. Do this one for me, please. Okay, see, did you put 19 here? This is your A value. Oh, that's a capital A. I didn't see that. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead and try to simplify. Once you think you have everything done, see what you can do to simplify. Okay, that should be squared. The square should be on the outside, yep. And then what's your K value? Correct. Yep, it's going to go in as a negative. You're right.
I think I did that right.
So we're going to write our formula down. We're plugging in x, y, h, and k. A is what we don't know. Our h is a 3, so what is it going to look like when we actually plug it in? A negative 3. What's a negative squared? Okay. There you go. Good. Yeah. I would, yes. You're going to need some more room, so you might want to scoot that up here. Okay. Negative 3 squared. A negative squared is a positive, right? So we have 19 equals 9a plus 10. You should be there.
1.
Okay, keep going. Plus, what's your k value? Okay. Once you have your a value, try to write your equation in vertex form. Once you figure out what your a value is, go ahead and write your equation in vertex form. Awesome. Make sure that this x has parentheses around it. Okay. Seeing great things on your papers. What are we getting for our a value? 1. Okay, so if we're getting a for our 1 value, 1 for our a value. Whew, tired. Y equals 1 x minus 3 squared plus 10. You have to make sure you put your 10 there. You need this amount of room over here for what we're getting ready to do next. Okay, so if you need to rewrite this off to the side or you want to scoot this up a little bit, you need some room underneath here for what we're getting ready to do. Okay? Mitchell?
I had a question. With your x,
Sure.
why wouldn't you pull the... I understand the 0 isn't going to do anything, but you have an x right there and you have a y right there.
Yes.
So then why don't you plug those two in?
So we did that in the very beginning, right? Right here.
Right.
But we only use them temporarily so that we can figure out what the a value is. Once we know what a is, then we want the general form, which means I could plug in any x and y and figure it out on this parabola. Okay? So we use it temporarily in the very beginning as our x and y. And then after we figure out what a is, we want to put x and y back in so that if I had another point on the parabola, I could plug it in for x and y and see where it goes. Okay? Good question. All right, so this is vertex form. So off here to the side, write this vertex form. If I want you to write this in standard form, okay, if I want you to write this in standard form, how do you move from vertex to standard form? That's the question. Any ideas how we're going to move this from vertex to standard form?
Treat it as a literal equation.
Not a literal equation. Think about right here. What could we do with this? Because we need it to look like ax squared plus bx plus c. What could we do with that x minus 3 squared? What could we do with that?
2x.
Not 2x. What does that squared mean, guys? Double, right?
4x.
So this means we really have x minus 3 times x minus 3. So let's write that. I have x minus 3 times x minus 3. I still have the 1 out front, and I still have the 10 in the back. Okay, so I've multiplied these out. We still have our equal sign over there. How do you multiply x minus 3 times x minus 3?
X minus 2,
How do you multiply those two things?
squares, right?
Distribute, right? X to the x to the negative 3. Negative 3 to the x, negative 3 to the negative 3. Okay, go ahead and multiply these together. You know how to do this. This is from Algebra 1. Go ahead and multiply these two things together. Forget about the 1 and forget about the 10. So we know x times x is x squared. X times negative 3, negative 3x. Negative 3 times x, negative 3 times negative 3. I'm going to bring down my plus 10 and my 1. Is there anything in the parentheses that we can combine? The negative 3x and negative 3x. What is negative 3x and negative 3x? Negative 6x. You're adding them. So I have 1 times x squared minus 6x plus 9 plus 10. We're almost there. Now, should we multiply this 1 through or should we add 10 first? What do you think we should do first? Some of you are forgetting PEMDAS. Parentheses, exponents, then what? Multiplication comes before addition. So we would need to multiply this 1 through. So go ahead and draw your lines like this, even though 1's not going to change anything, so that when you go back and look at your notes, you can remember that you need to multiply. Right, 1's not going to change anything. It's still going to be x squared minus 6x plus 9. And now I can take the parentheses off. I have my plus 10 out there. What do you think my last step is here? The 9 and the 10 to make 19. So I have x squared minus 6x plus 19 equals f of x. This looks like standard form, right? ax squared plus bx plus c. If I were to find the vertex using this, ax squared plus bx plus c, I would get 3 and 10. If I wanted to do opposite of b over 2a here, I would get the same vertex. Some of you are looking at me with wide eyes, okay? That's okay. What I'd like for you to do is to find a piece of paper or a part of, not this page, let's see, do you have any room? You might have room on the page, bottom of page 2. Do you have room on the bottom of page 2 in your packet? Go back to page 2. Do you have room at the bottom of your page in page 2? Maybe not. Okay, then grab a separate sheet of paper. Okay, we're going to do another example together, so go ahead and write this down on a separate sheet of paper. You just need to write vertex -2,5 and point for -13. Okay, write those 2 points down on your paper, please. And then copy down vertex form onto your paper. The formula for vertex form. So -2,5 and 4, -13. -2,5 is our vertex. 4, -13 is our point. So then we're going to go ahead and write our equation down, our formula. Use your notes. You guys are pretty good at finding A, so go ahead and solve for A. Remember, we're plugging in X and Y, H and K. Yep, your vertex is your H and K. Yep, anytime it says vertex, that's going to be your H and K, which means the other one's going to be your X and Y. Remember, when you plug in your vertex, what's the H value you're going to plug in? What's it going to look like when you plug in your H? It's going to look like +2, right?
I'm gonna get a
How
fraction.
do you have 12 here?
That is a 12.
I know how. First of all, this should be a +4 that you plug in.
No, because it was an
But this is just X and Y. H is the only thing that gets changed. So everything else stays the same for the signs except for the H value, not the X. So this should be a +4. And then this 2 is actually a -2. So when you plug it in, it should be a, what's 4 + 2? Bless you. 4 + 2 is, and 6 squared, not 6 times 2, 6 squared. Leanna, be careful. Are you dividing by 18? Did you square 6? No. 6 times 2 is 12, but 6 squared means 6 times 6. And your Y value is over here.
I'm still gonna end up with a fraction.
Okay, yes, that's 36.
Yes.
And then your Y value is -13. Your Y value should be right here, -13. The whole time. And then you're going to solve that for A.
Careful of your sign in. I think you dropped the negative somewhere.
Actually, it's just having homework.
No, it's not a whole number.
When I
No, it's not. You didn't divide it the right direction. Which of those numbers is with the variable? Remember, if we're simplifying a fraction, it's top to bottom, not bottom to top. Don't just start with the biggest one. No. What's the base? 36. You gotta divide by 36. Oh, yeah.
Good.
Can I simplify by 18?
Okay, so what happens when we do 18 divided by 36, right? Aren't you dividing by 36 or are you dividing by 18? Which one?
You gotta get the A by itself.
Where is your variable?
That's a lot more complicated.
Your variable is with 36, so you should be dividing by 36, not dividing by 18. Good. Give me a fraction on step. What is that as a fraction?
Symbols are smarter.
Mr. I pass the math I step.
Yeah, but it's still, it ends up being a fraction, but
That's okay. Your A value should be negative 1/2. Not 2. 36 divided by 18 is 2, but 18 is on top in our problem. Should be a negative because your 18 should be negative. Okay, so your A is negative 1/2. Now go ahead and write your equation. What your equation should be if your A is negative 1/2. Write your equation. The y equals A times x minus h squared. Write your vertex form. Up here at the top, guys. Once you found A, write your vertex form up here at the top of the next side of the paper. Okay? So over here, write what your vertex form should be. Remember, we're putting y and x back in.
Plug it in, you still do the opposite,
Right.
right?
Yep, when you plug your h in, it should be the opposite. So you should have y equals negative 1/2 times x plus 2 squared plus 5. Raise your hand if you have that on your paper.
looks a lot more complex than it is, but it's still time consuming.
It is time consuming, okay? What do we do now? What do you think we do now? Look at what we did last time. What do we do with this x plus 2? Good, Ashley. Thank you for speaking for your whole class. Say that again. 2 times, right? X plus 2 times x plus 2. So this becomes x plus 2 times x plus 2. We still have the negative 1/2 out there, and I still have the plus 5 at the end. Okay, so do your x plus 2 times x plus 2.
How do I distribute
Talk about that. So I should have in parentheses x squared plus 4x plus 4. Is that what you guys are getting in your parentheses? Okay. Now Leanna said, how do I distribute the 1/2? You distribute it like you would normally. What is 1/2 times 1? Boy, that's a hard one. 1/2 times 1 is what?
1.5?
Guys, what's half of 1? 1/2. All right, so this first one becomes negative 1/2 x squared. What is half of 4? 2. So this is minus 2x. What is half of 4 again? Minus 2 again. Plus 5. What's your last step to do here? Combine negative 2 and 5. Okay. So y equals negative 1/2 x squared minus 2x plus 3. This is called standard form. And the one up here is vertex form. Standard form at the bottom and vertex form at the top. Does anyone have any questions on this example?
I think part of the reason everybody in the past kind of hesitated on that one because we were thinking there was
I don't know what just happened.
Some type of complex something to do with 1/2 or something like that.
It is pretty tricky to multiply y by 1/2 sometimes.
And it's a fraction.
I got confused because right there where it says x squared plus
Yes?
2x, I thought we will put 2x and 2x together, so I thought it was going to be x squared.
Oh, nope, 2x plus 2x is 4x, right? Okay.
No, it only.
All right, I'd like you to look at your packet, please. On page 5 of your packet, you have 4 questions there. You guys see that on page 5 of your packet? You have 4 questions identical to what we just did. The first 2, the directions say, leave it in vertex form. So look up at the board, please. That means you're stopping here on the first 2. You just find A and write your vertex form. The second 2, it says write it in standard form. So the second 2, you're going to have to do this whole long thing. I understand you feel like it's a lot. Vertex form first, then into standard form. Okay? So all 4 of them are going to need vertex form. Just the last 2, you have to take it down into standard form. Okay? I'm going to give you 15 minutes to work on these 4 problems. And then we're going to move on. So use your time wisely. You have 15 minutes to work on these 4 problems. They will be for a grade.